The whole terrifying scene played out in the middle of, as you saw, a quiet neighborhood. And as you can imagine, the people who live there were in shock. Let's continue our live coverage now with Team 12's Josh Sanders, who has reaction from some of those neighbors. Josh?
That's right, Mark. Certainly terrifying. People tell me this is a quiet neighborhood. Several people don't even lock their doors, but that all changed early this morning. Several neighbors, the quiet turning into a police scene with crime tape after the initial gunshots around 1 a.m. Several neighbors calling into Chandler police, obviously concerned. The whole neighborhood was affected for another 12 hours. Initially, police told people to stay inside, but after more gunshots and then that fire, police quickly evacuated the surrounding area. We spoke with several neighbors watching throughout the day.
I stuck my head out the door, and about that time I guess a cop jumped the fence there and then jumped the fence here, and when he come by me I said he went that way. And when I stuck my head back out the door, it was bang, 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 bang.
And eventually, you know, I see a lot of smoke from here, and it was lit on fire. So it escalated to being worse. But we've been here since 9 o'clock this morning.
Were